Did you go to any treatment centers beforehand, or did it just come upon you when you're 40 years old, all of a sudden, like, I'm drinking too much and I need to stop this now?
I went to one once. I went to a Christian-based recovery house. I was there for 28 days. I went in there because I had nowhere else to go. At that point, my husband wasn't letting me come home. I had gone to treatment. He's like, nope, you're not coming back here. Sorry, I'd gone to detox. I went to detox repeatedly. I went to detox about 15. Then once I would detox, I would come out and figure, well, I haven't had a drink. I used to think, well, I haven't had a drink for a couple days, so I kind of deserve one. And I would get quite indignant if somebody didn't agree with me, you know. But I really believed it. I believed I deserved it. Like, that I had done something spectacular by staying sober for, 48, 72 hours, whatever it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just had nowhere else to go. So I went out of detox into the recovery center. And, yeah, I stayed 28 days and then left. And immediately went back to drinking. I had no intentions of staying, getting or staying sober weren't really on my mind. So,
but you did get sober, so that's the important part, right?
Yeah. I remember, I have the gift of remembering very distinctly what it was like those last few months before I got clean. I felt really hopeless. Like, those were hopeless days. Every day, like, I just wanted to die. Like, the alcohol and the drugs, they weren't working anymore. Like, I didn't want to use them anymore. Like, I had gotten to that point. Like, they stopped working, stopped, like, killing the pain. They stopped reducing the anxiety. It stopped being fun. It stopped being good. And I would look at myself in the mirror. I was literally covered in scabs from, like, I was a picker. And I had plucked, like, my hair right out of my head, and I had this big bald spot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was this weird shade of gray, and this stuff at that point that I had done to myself, and that I had done. I hated who I had become. And honestly, I didn't think there was much hope for me. I just thought it was worth taking a chance. Yeah. Physically, emotionally, spiritually, I was dying. There was no question about it. If I didn't stop when I did, I wouldn't be alive today. There's no question about that in my mind. Like, you go to a meeting and you see people and they're happy and they're laughing and they're enjoying their life, and I thought, there's no way these people can relate to the hell that I'm going through. I just didn't think it was possible. But now I see myself and I realize how important it is to share, like, how it was, like, those three things: how it was, what happened, what it's like now. Because if I didn't share how it was, there's no way that a newcomer would look at me today and think, that girl gets me. That girl knows what I've been through, unless I openly share that in a meeting. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
To share that stuff in a meeting, because I certainly couldn't look at a room full of happy people that were, stressed out about their mortgage rate or whatever, where I was, homeless and scabby and gray, I'm super grateful that I took that chance that day.
But you talk about your gratitude list. Like, when you wake up in the morning, does it help you to remember where you came from?
I don't think about where I came from when I got up in the morning. I think that's always there. What just grateful. Yeah, I guess I do. I do, because I'm often grateful for my recovery, and I'm often grateful to wake up sober, and those kind of things often find their way onto my list. So yeah, I guess I do. Yeah. I guess it's just, it's just part of, like, my routine. It's like, do I? I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess I do.
You said you were having a hard time in the first 6 months. Do you feel like you kind of healed by that time and kind of the tears stopped coming, or do you think you just kind of cried less at that point?
Yeah, I cried a lot in those those first 6 months a lot. I had so much healing to do. And I threw myself, I think treatment, like going to treatment, or at least the center that I went to, was the best gift I could have given myself. Because it's, when else, really, does somebody have an opportunity to spend a solid 6 months doing nothing but working on their own healing, their own journey, their own recovery, you know? I threw everything into that first set of steps, and yeah, it was incredibly healing. And I did heal myself. It was definitely in that first year that I was able to really heal from my past. I put a lot of work in, though. I really did. I had to really work on that.
And then you said that you were homeless at the time. Was that including you had no job, or like you weren't working or anything? Oh yeah, because you did have your husband
I did have
at the house,
yeah,
but he wasn't wanting you there.
But I would choose homelessness. I would choose the streets rather than coming home. I couldn't do what I wanted to do at home, you know? So I would choose to stay on the streets and just live that lifestyle, rather than coming home and facing the music.
You think it was the loneliness that made you feel like you didn't have anywhere to go? Were you lonely at the time?
Yeah, you know, I wasn't in a good marriage, and the house wasn't a loving home. Yeah, I guess loneliness. I was very, very alone at the end.
But you said you went to the treatment center, and then you said you were still with your husband while you were in the treatment center? Like, technically you guys were still married at the time?
Yes.
So it wasn't until after you got out of the treatment center?
After I got out of the treatment center, I went back to that house. So at that point, I had really been drunk through my entire marriage, and I thought, maybe it's me. Like, maybe I need to give this one honest shot sober. And I did. I went back, and I didn't think it was going to work, but for my own self, I had to go back and try it at least once. Like, I had to try my marriage sober and see if things could be different. And they weren't. So I left. Yeah. I packed up what would fit in my car. I had a 23-year-old car. I packed up my clothes, anything that would fit in my car, in one trek. And I rented a room in some guy's house. Something I found, shared accommodations on Marketplace. Yeah, that was, I think, the scariest thing I did sober, was taking that drive away from that house with my stuff.
When you were going through the steps of, like, I mean, I'm just assuming that you got a divorce after that.
Yes. Yeah, we did.
So then what supports did you have throughout that process? Just your sponsor?
Just my sponsor, my best friend, the program itself. I had support through that, for sure. It was hard to do. There was no question.
Did you ever think afterwards that, did any of your friends, people that used to know you, say, "I'll come up and go to a meeting with you later on," or was it like, "Oh, I didn't even know you were having problems"?
Oh,
like, how
everybody
did it
knew
go?
I had problems. No, actually, do you know what's really funny?
What's that?
I remember my ex-husband's cousin saying to me, "I didn't know you had a problem with alcohol. I knew you were on crack," he said.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't know you had a problem with alcohol. He said, "I never saw you drinking." I said, "What are you talking about? I was always drinking." He says, "No, you were always, every time I saw you, you had a bottle of water." And I laughed so hard. I said, "Oh, no, that was vodka."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's why vodka was probably one of the better choices.
Right? Yeah, I would just put it in my water bottle